Connecting and hello world. I think the stream should be running. All right, let me get something started, and I want to try to start this as soon as possible. Yep, it's going. And let me get the game. All right, here we go. Hello, people in the chat, and hello world. This is me streaming Sonic Adventure. So yeah, if anything's wrong, I hope the people in the chat can tell me. I'm gonna be just looking at things up, seeing if the stream actually runs and everything. I hope it does. Please tell me if the audio is okay. Anything like that. Let me check out some things real quick. Jesus fuck. No, come on. Yeah, I think this should be it. Alright. So, let's get this thing started right now. Okay, so... God, I really want to get this started, but I just want to know... Okay, I think it's fine. Alright, so... For some perspective, one of the reasons why I'm commenting on Adventure is because... for those who don't know, I'm a game developer, hello. People call me like Feppard. That's what they know me by. But basically, I've worked on several 2D games so far, and you know, 2D Sonic fan games and whatnot, including my original game Untitled Chapter, which I released on Steam a while back, and it's on sale right now. And a new update also came out, so you can go pick it up right now. It's gonna be on sale for a little while, so But basically, aside from those things, I also made 3D endeavors where I made a 3D Sonic engine called Hedge Physics. And Hedge Physics is a very interesting thing because I always wanted to make a 3D game, and I was never actually able to get something like a 3D controller and a 3D engine for me to use. So Hedge Physics was also made as a 3D character controller of sorts, and I just decided to make it more like a Sonic game because Sonic is very complicated. 3D movement on Sonic is heavily complicated. There's a lot of things on 3D Sonic that you have to consider when making an engine and whatnot. And so I made Hedge Physics, and I'm also currently working on a game called Fark the Electric Jester, which is a 3D action platformer which gets a lot of elements from Sonic. So yeah, that's pretty much my... It's also a hack and slash and whatnot. There's a lot of action to it because it's supposed to be a sequel to Spark and whatnot. Man, I'm not as in tune as I was some other times on the stream. But hey, I'll figure something out. But basically, I'm gonna be streaming Adventure and commenting on the game and giving some perspective on 3D games and whatnot. Because I feel like I've learned a lot while making those things and whatnot. So yeah, let's get started. I'm gonna create a new file. I hope I can delete this one. Can I? Yeah, there we go. I'm playing currently with a PS4 controller. Maybe I should change it to the Xbox gamepad. Let me see if it works. Should be better, right? At least I hope so. Alright, it's running. I need to change some things. I guess it works. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Hello chat. Okay, so we're playing the PC version of Sonic Adventure DX, the one released on Steam. So just so people know, whatever I'm gonna be criticizing on the game, that's the version. It's on Steam sale right now. It's like $2 for me. So I decided to, you know, let's just get it and play it just like I did with Mania a while back. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing those streams, is because I have games are on sale. They're cheap. I can just get them and play it. It gives me an excuse to play them, and it gives me something to talk about. Because I do believe I got things that are interesting to say. It would also be a good idea for me to actually stream those games again after I've completed my first and released my first 3D game. Just so, you know, because I'm gonna have a little bit more of a perspective in it. So let's get started. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna be doing any of the other characters. But still, it might as well. It's funny, like, I've always looked at the UI of Sonic Adventure, and I've seen there is always some style to it. I mean, just look at the background, right? Can you guys see the mouse cursor? Oh, there it is. Look at the background. Right now, it looks fairly low resolution. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's whatever, right? Because it's supposed to be a port or whatever. This probably looked better on like the CRTs of the 90s, because I think this game was released like around the turn of the millennium or something like that. I'm not really sure, but still, the background is fairly like stylized and whatnot. And if this was made in today's world, it would actually look very, very like overly animated. But since this is a very old game, it was just like pretty much like a Photoshop picture. But then you look at the bottom over here and those big ass balls and the mismatched fonts, like clear over here. It's not the same font, but it's still, it doesn't match. 0% is like off to the side. It's not towards the center. There's a player select right over here at the bottom that looks like some kind of debug font. So it's like, there is a style to Sonic Adventure DX, but that style isn't exactly always implemented. I mean, the way that it says Sonic over here with this font looks fine, but this thing with the white and black border is just like, it's absolutely like on the way. Like, what is it? Just doesn't match. I mean, let's go back to the menu, right? Here we have Sonic Adventure DX and everything looks stylized, but then you have this little box with things on it to select, and it just doesn't look very good. You know, it's just, I mean, even the A and B over here actually, because I believe those things are new, right? Because they've been, you know, this PC release, so they decided to adapt it to controllers, and it just doesn't look right. I mean, it looks okay. It looks okay, but like over here, this thing, it just didn't look right. I mean, they could have just used like the background as like a guide for everything, but they didn't. It had a style, it had something going for it, and I don't think it worked all that well. Now looking at the character models, it's funny. I know those are the models for the DX version, and they're different from the version in the original Dreamcast. I'm gonna be talking about this one really, because I don't think I'm gonna be particularly criticizing it per se. I just want to comment on it and give an interesting perspective, and you know, just going through it, whatever. Like, I think everyone has said already whatever they want to say about this game. I'm not really here to absolutely, like, I'm gonna give criticism on it, obviously, but I'm just more here to give it an interesting new perspective. I'm not here to criticize those games as in something for you to play. They are here to give me something to talk about more than to recommend or review. Regardless of that, let's look at Sonic over here. It's funny that Sonic actually has kind of a Tomb Shader look to him. Just look at the eyes. Look at Sonic's eyes. Look at the top left corner, like over here. You can sort of see that there is like the shadow fall off is not smooth. It's very sharp. It's not totally sharp, like super sharp. It's somewhat sharp, and it just kind of stops around this point. So they kind of give him a Tomb Shader look. Regardless of that, the animations are pretty weird. I mean, the feet are like they're colliding with each other. They're clipping. How the legs in general, the spikes are colliding with the hands and whatnot. It's just an odd job. I don't know if this was better in the original. So like, look at Tails' animations. Look at the way he moves his feet. It's generally pretty bad. I mean, I've seen better animation from the time, so I don't think there is actually much of an excuse for this. This isn't a product of the time. There was good animation at the time. It's just not well animated, really. Generally, yeah. Even Amy has this problem. Big, I don't want to comment on Big. I know nothing about Big. This character has a bit of a weird model. I can already see some flaws on it. But whatever. Let's just start playing Sonic. Alright. Look at that animation. I never understood that pose. Like, what is he doing? Just moving back and forth? Oh well, okay, so I start the game, and there's this thing. You know, like, actually getting into game development, I have noticed that making cutscenes is fairly tough. It's actually not as easy as people think it is. And I actually see the value towards, oh my god, it's just a JPEG.
Oh yeah. This is happening.
I'm not even gonna comment on this, but like, oh, the stiff animation. I mean, everyone knows that it's stiff, right? But like, when actually making animated cutscenes for a video game, it's actually surprisingly hard to make it, and in-engine stuff, because generally you're going to be animating in one software and then putting all those things into another software. And there's a lot that can go wrong in that, because generally it has to be converted to whatever format that software uses. In my case, it's Unity. So it has to be converted to an FBX format and then be made into a cutscene in the game. And generally there's a lot of errors that show up when converting the animation curves and whatever thing that is going to be in it. So it's fairly complicated to actually do in-game cutscenes. But regardless of that, the cutscenes in this game are still very badly animated.
Oh yeah, this could be fun.
Still, looking at this game and looking at everything that's happening, I do feel like Sega was a little bit over their heads with what they could do. They should have not have the scope of this game as big as it is. It really seems like a game that just had to have this big of a scope, and it just became what it is. Alright, let me just get rid of this boss. It's weird that it starts with a boss fight, but I mean, whatever, right? As long as the game gets going. And talking about boss fights a little bit, like, my games have a lot of boss fights to them. Spark, for example, has a shit ton of boss fights. But actually, over time... Oh, this is funny, I just noticed that the ground disappears when this phase of the boss starts, so we can actually see what the boss is doing. That's kind of neat, I guess. I mean, as long as it works, right? Ah, the homing attack, it took a while to target.
I'll play with you some other time.
Like, it didn't... I tried it aiming, but it just didn't target the guy. Okay. So, you know, back on the boss fights thing, I actually really dislike making boss fights. It's a lot of coding, but not like a lot of coding in the sense that it's a lot of actual written code. It's a lot of programming. You are programming a boss. You are programming its patterns. You are programming its animation. You are programming where the hitboxes are. It's... I don't know what's the word for it. Like, methodical? I don't know if it's that word specifically. It's very... You have to have a plan on your mind, and you have to know how to execute it. And doing all of that and remembering everything that I have to do and whatnot. And even if you make notes for it, sometimes I don't even make notes because making notes can be even more time consuming. I just keep it on my mind and I just make the boss. Yeah, also because generally I have to remember to make the notes, and that's time not spent actually making the boss. It's very tedious, yes, I'm going to point it out in the chat. It is very much tedious. But yeah, my games have them regardless. Right now I'm actually working on a boss fight, and I just finished the first phase of it. And I already started working on the second phase. It's full, it's boss fight in Fark. It's the second time I'm making that boss, in fact, because I felt like the first time I made it, it just wasn't very good, and I got a little bit better at animating and whatnot, so I decided to just redo it. And immediately we cut off to this chick. Oh, they both look really bad. It's so funny. They look like they belong straight out of like some PS1 Final Fantasy game. They do react to you. That's nice. It's nice that they actually do react in some ways to you. Alright, let's try to criticize the controls a little bit. Cause in Sonic, while making hedge physics, I've noticed that there is actually one thing about 3D Sonic that is the most complicated 3D thing about 3D Sonic, and I don't think people notice it generally because it's like they think about Sonic, they think of immediately, oh, the physics. The physics are hard to make. Well, actually 3D physics are not as hard to make as 2D physics, because first of all, in 2D, you have already like a set of things that you have to do, like you have concrete games that you can base your game out of. In 3D you don't have that very much. You have Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 and whatnot, but those games, even between those games, they're not entirely consistent. I mean, Adventure 1 plays differently than Adventure 2 in general. They play somewhat differently, and people say, oh, this one is my favorite, I prefer 1, or I prefer 2. You know, they're different games. So when making physics for 3D Sonic Engine, you very much have to start from scratch. It's gonna be your physics, and that's why you don't have a physics of like a Sonic engine that is exactly like a game, like a existing Sonic game. The best that people have attempted so far is to make something that is exactly like Generations. but not really adventure as far as I can tell. There is not a single released engine that is like adventure as far as I can tell. As in, it's entirely like adventure. Like it uses the Sonic Adventure 1 model and the way it moves and whatnot. It's supposed to be replicating Sonic Adventure 1. You don't get that very much. But yeah, but the most complicated part is the movement system. For example, one thing that I've noticed while working on my racing game XF is that when you're making a car, there is a certain amount that the car has to turn, right? But I've also noticed that if you keep the amount the same, no matter how fast your car is going, when the car is going really, really fast, it's gonna topple over. Not topple over, but it's gonna be really bad. Like, check out this shit. I'm going really fast and then I just move all to the side. It's amazing this game doesn't seem to do that very much. Yeah, Sonic just turns. Generally, if you want to make a racing game, it's generally a very good idea to make the car turn less at high speeds. So the faster you're going, the less your car is gonna turn. Not because that's a part of the mechanics, as in that is a part of the way as in it's like the part of the way the game works, as in the faster you're going, the harder it's gonna be to control. No. By the contrary, actually making the car harder to turn at high speeds is a way to make the game easier to control. Because if the car the faster you're going, the faster you're gonna turn in a way. The more area you're gonna cover with a turn. So by slowing down the turn, you actually make your character, your car, more consistent at high speeds. I mean, check this shit out. I'm like going and then, oh, it didn't happen that time. Yeah, Sonic just turns really, really fast as if he was at low speeds. It's just that he brakes. Occasionally he brakes if you're pressing. Okay, let me talk about that real quick. There is a thing that I've learned a while back. It's very useful if you want to make any kind of 3D game, and it's something called the dot product. Essentially, what the dot product does is that that's how I interpret it anyways. It gets the amount that you're looking towards another direction. So let's say I have Sonic looking towards this tree right now, right? And let's say the tree is actually looking towards me, right? By getting those two values, those two vectors, which is like pointing towards a direction in space, by getting those two vectors, we can get how much I'm facing this tree. And by using that value, we can get how much Sonic is actually facing a direction. So for example, when we're going forward and we press... Okay, that was fucking weird. When we're going forward and we press backwards, we get, like, let's say a value of -1 because we're pressing the complete opposite direction of what we're running. So essentially, if the value is at a specific threshold, then Sonic is supposed to do a braking. Except it's weird that in this game, and I've noticed this problem while making hedge physics as well, and I probably took some measures to avoid it, but pressing backwards should not actually turn you like that. It should never do that. It should stop you, but it doesn't. For example, in hedge physics, if you're spinning, I believe, Sonic will just like stop slowly, and Adventure 1 doesn't really do that. And I believe something like Generations obviously does that. I don't want to like just be like someone's gonna look at this and be like, oh, you're just playing this game so you consider your engine is better. Well, look, the thing is, I'm not gonna say the engine is better than Adventure. People really like Adventure. It's a game that people really like, and overall, if a company has made a game that people just like, despite of its flaws, I mean, people like Adventure more than like hedge physics, obviously. So Adventure is better than hedge physics in general. To me, it's not about objective metrics when it comes to video games. It really is just about how much people enjoy it. If people enjoy something more, then it's better. And I just really don't want to compare it. By using that metric, I can say that Adventure is a better game than my fucking Unity Sonic game engine. My unpolished Unity Sonic engine. Because I made it just as a base for something else. If you want to use hedge physics actually for your game, I recommend you use the Bumper engine, which is made. It's a spin-off of hedge physics made by the guy who made Green Hill Paradise, and it looks fairly good. I haven't actually tried it myself, but from what I've seen, it looks fairly good. Regardless, yeah. For example, you press backwards immediately, Sonic just stops. But depending on the angle, Sonic won't. Like, oh, dude, that thing like happens in my engine too. It's funny. Like, yeah, it's like breaking around. Let me try out some other things, like going to this and then pressing forward, like Sonic just immediately turns. Yeah. Like I'm not moving the analog stick towards the left, I'm just stopping and pressing the left. It does that. It's just like, whoosh, it just turns, like super fast. See that? Right there. In a more advanced physics engine, he wouldn't do that. For example, in Sonic Utopia, they fixed that in a very interesting way, where it's like when you spin dash and you press backwards, you notice that Sonic does a curve up some sides. He still curves. He still does a curve. In Utopia, they found they pretty much did exactly the same thing, except Sonic turns a lot more smoothly. It looks a lot more smooth, and it's, you know, fairly a much better idea of doing that. Utopia, in general, actually, I think did a fairly good job at trying to translate Sonic Adventure physics. To me, Utopia is actually just a better controlling Sonic Adventure. It really is. But then again, I'm not sure, like, there is, like, someone might look and say, oh, back then, like, you just couldn't make physics as good as this. And I actually don't think that's the case. I think Utopia doesn't control, Adventure doesn't control as good, specifically because I just don't think the programmers were that great. I don't know, it's just, it could have been better. This game just could have controlled better. And the collision too, like when you hit the wall you just stop. This is a problem I faced while making a racing game in Unity 4 actually. I really just couldn't get the physics right, so the character would just stop when I hit a wall. So all I actually needed to do was apply something that Unity called a friction material, like a physics material. Hold on. But yeah, it's a physics material, which is essentially how much an object like has drag when colliding with something. Over here, the drag is insane when you collide a wall, like it immediately stops you. But in reality, what it should do is that Sonic should just slide around. And in this game, like in Utopia, it's funny because Sonic just keeps walking into the wall. I've always wondered how Murasaki did that. I asked her, and she was like, it's a secret. But whatever. In Hedge Physics, Sonic just kind of slides. He loses some speed, but regardless, he just slides. And while making the racing game, I've also done that, where the character would just like, okay, what the hell happened? That's funny. Hey, I'm experimenting, so I'm gonna find this sort of shit. Oh, I love it. Sonic just kind of walking. I've also tried to like walk with just holding the analog a little bit and see what happens. Okay, so I got Sonic walking. And now I just got Sonic stopped. This is wonderful. Let me see what I can do. This is funny. I feel like... Yeah, look at that. There is kind of like a system that keeps Sonic going like forwards and backwards, kind of like magnetizing Sonic to those directions, if I feel like. Just interesting. It's interesting that it exists. Yeah, I'm noticing it right now. Yeah, it really seems like there is a thing here that magnetizes Sonic to going forward and not like slightly to the side. Maybe it's just me, but there's another thing I noticed. And no, I'm not going to the loop right now because I want to talk about the loop, so I'm just staying here for now. But like, one thing that I've noticed, I've always worked while making my game Fark with Unity's regular input engine, but the way analog sticks work is that they have like an axis, right? It's kind of like a square in a way. Let me draw something. So, this is like the worst. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me just make another window capture. Come on. How do you do? Oh, okay. Oh, where's the damn thing? Snipping tool. Cool. That's what I wanted. Alright, so you see this snipping tool over here, right? It's the analog stick is kind of captured like this. It's like a square gate of sorts. It's not like arcade sticks, but it's like this, right? And then you got the analog stick. And you move like a little thing on it to whatever direction you want, right? By default, what it's done is that it gets an X like an X and a Y value. I put it in another place. Basically, X and Y. It could be up or down, whatever, right? And it's like generally you get input that like your X can be like this, 1 and Y and whatever. But there is another way of doing input that I've noticed that it's like a circle, and like your input is never gonna be 1 towards the side or 1 minus 1. It's gonna be like clamps towards the side of the circle, like a circle, instead of actually being like a square. I don't know if you guys get it, but essentially when I got Rewired, which is an input plugin for Unity, I decided to change to this input method. And when I did that, I've noticed that staying going forward is actually super fucking hard. I don't know how exactly the Dreamcast captured input, if at all, but if at all. I'm not sure how the Dreamcast or whatever system like GameCube captured input, but if it captured input like a square, I'm not really sure that it would actually need to like sort of make the player magnetized towards forward, which it's odd that it does that, but it's very interesting. Like how good you need to be on geometry to make games. Well, not too much. Learn what you need to. When you want to make something, you learn that thing. Vector mathematics is very good for 3D games. I would say it's absolutely necessary. Vector is essentially like like X, Y, and Z, and it essentially points towards a direction, and that's very important because you're going to be working with speeds and directions and grounds and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the physics a little bit, but first let's just go on the loop. I have a lot of things to talk about going on a loop. You know, the ways the loops are done in Adventure and whatnot. It's funny that when they make the transition to the Adventure series, they made the loops automated. But you would think, like, why would they do that? Why would they not like just keep the camera behind Sonic and have that? Well, I've decided to actually do that on my games, and experimenting with that, I've noticed that there's a lot you can actually do by having the camera on the back like that. However, there's also some problems. One, there's nausea. It can cause nausea if you don't actually do it very well. And second, it needs more processing power. It actually does, because what you're gonna be needing is first of all, your skybox and everything has to be programmed so it can be like it can look good in every direction, which is a problem in a lot of scenarios. Like, it's gonna take a lot more resources. You know, I don't know if I can look up in this game. I don't know if there's actually an upper part to the skybox, or if it looks any good, right? Regardless of that, can I actually look? I don't think I can do that, or looking first person. But still, another thing about the loop is it's very interesting, is that they are not too different from the loops in 2D Sonic, if you think about it, really. I mean, think about it. In 2D games, in the 2D Sonic games, oh, I really can't go back, can I? Well, in the 2D games, generally when most people win a loop, and I know there are more things you can do in a loop. There's loop jumping and several other things. Regardless of that, this automated paths, huh? Regardless of that, generally what most people are going to be doing in a loop is just holding forward. You're just going to be holding forward. Oh, this camera, man. You're generally just going to be holding forward, and in Adventure, it's not much different. They really translated it like one-to-one to it, but it's a very... you notice that Sonic kind of stayed glued to the wall? But regardless of that, Sonic just kind of... Jesus, man. Like, they translated it in a very shallow way, where they just translated the way it felt to play to someone that isn't as good at those games. But in reality, there's a lot you can do with loops in the original Sonic games. They're not that simplistic. They're not just loops for the sake of it. A lot of the times they're just used for spectacle, but they can be more than spectacle, which is what I think that this game doesn't totally understand. I do think, however, that the automated paths are just a bad idea, but they do exist in the original games. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, they exist in plenty. For example, one thing that comes to mind is the automated paths in whatever the name is, Lava Reef. Yeah, Lava Reef. In Lava Reef, there's actually that one section where you go and kind of like around a little thing, and then you come out of like a ramp. There's a whole animation for that and whatnot. which is very nice. It looks cool, but it's not as an automated path. And I think Sonic Team just kind of got those and make those into more of a thing in this game. Which is, you know, I mean, I don't think it particularly worked in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that they should exist in general. I think actually moving the character through the path and keeping your character on the path should be one of the big things about the game. One of the skills that you need to manage. 3D movement is complicated. It's hard to do. Oh man, it's funny that Sonic actually does that. It's like spazzing out on the wall. Still, like, I think that 3D movement is a thing that should be like aspired to in this game. Like, it should be something that you should get good at in general. It's funny that they don't do that, but still. You notice that, like, it's gonna be complicated to point it out. You can kind of see, like, this part and this part is just kind of like a graphical oddity. That happens because of transparency. Transparency just works like that. It's a very common thing. The best thing to do is just not have the other side being rendered, really. What happens if I go backwards? Oh, they're just like a wall. Oh, this is kind of funny. But whatever, I think I noticed something. I'll check it out later. But yeah, like, the thing is, I just don't think... I think this is a design issue more than actually a programming issue. Well, kind of, it's both. I think Sonic Adventure was actually designed with automated paths in mind instead of being designed with just good movement in mind. Like, over here, it shows kind of like an example of how good you can make a game like this without automated paths. And really, you don't have to make automated paths to make a good camera in a game. While making Fark, I've noticed that I made automatic, not automatic camera, but like certain camera triggers that you could use to set the camera in places and whatnot. And I tried using those heavily. However, I've actually noticed that they're not that big of an addition. Actually, it's much better to just leave the camera free. And what happens is that when you move at a high speed, the game just locks, not locks, but like orients the camera behind the player, and by doing that, it sort of overcomes the need for an automatic camera in speed sections, because the player tends to go towards whatever the game wants you to go. And because of that, the camera is just going to orient itself towards that direction. So really, all that you do is that you make... Oh jeez, I did really just pass through the rock. Oh, collision, man. But yeah, basically, the player is just gonna go towards that direction. And the camera is not gonna look too bad. Also, another thing that I completely forgot to mention, and I think I just didn't mention, it doesn't actually target the spring. When on a loop, I was talking about how... Oh, look at that. Actually see kind of like a water thing if you move the camera. Yeah, see that? I think that's just a byproduct of the way the caustics... Yeah, you can sort of see Sonic's feet. You see there's like a fog thing on Sonic's feet. It's just because I think the way the caustics are rendered, which is like I think it's called caustics. It's those, you know, those like as if the effect where the light like bounces, not bounces off, but like it refracts off the water and makes those ripples underwater. Yeah, it's kind of like just an animated texture on top of everything. You can kind of see it. It's interesting. Nowadays we can use several other things to make that effect better, but back in the day I think this is probably the best way of doing it. Ah, Jesus, camera. But now going back to the loop thing, which I completely forgot to talk about when I said that it would actually require more processing power. I wasn't just talking about the skybox and things like that. I was also talking about how the loop needs to be of a higher poly count. Because the thing is, one thing that I've also noticed while making my games is that, look at this loop, it's fairly low poly, and you can sort of see Sonic like being a little bit jaggy and choppy when going through it. That is precisely because you can't go back. Because the loop is of a low poly count. And because the loop is of a low poly count, it's really hard to make your character like just go through it. You know, like for example, while playing F-Zero X in the N64, I've noticed that the track is just like, it's procedural. It's actually kind of a procedural mesh. and it's incredibly high poly, at least to N64 standards, while it's very close to the player, but once the player moves away, it just becomes like insanely low poly. But with the Dreamcast, or with the way levels designed in Sonic, that's not possible because they're just a mesh. They're not procedural, which is fine. I mean, that's how it should be done for the most part. So I'm not really sure if they could actually make a stage with a higher poly count than that and still being able to have it run at 60 FPS. Those panels are a really weird thing. And when I also said that it needs to be higher poly, it's also because of the collision. You know, because the collision needs to be... Generally, you don't want to make a higher collision mesh for the ground, because then your character is either gonna float on it or like pass through it, because it's different than what you're actually colliding with. Generally, in my opinion, you want to keep... Unless it's like an object like this, where you can just like make it like a little box, right? Even if you stand a little bit out of it, it's fine. But when it comes to the ground, you generally want the grounds to be as equal to the mesh you're actually stepping on as possible, to give the game a little bit more of a grounded feel. So it actually feels like you're colliding with the thing. So yeah, and also, you know, to avoid choppiness and whatnot, you really need to do that. I'm gonna try doing one thing. I'm gonna land on top of that loop. Yeah, it works. Ah, shit. No! That was like completely automated. I hate it. But yeah, I also don't think you could have done those kinds of loops. Which you see, where I was going, I have no fucking clue anymore. Also, like, I see a lot of people trying to port this stage to like engines like the GDK engine and Hedge Physics and whatnot. I don't see much of a point, because they really weren't made for what those engines are made for. Well, still, like, yeah, see how low poly it is? It's very low poly, and it will look super choppy. Sonic just goes. You can still jump out of it! You can still jump out of it! It's funny. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, also another little fun fact, this is the first time I'm playing Sonic Adventure with an analog stick. It feels a lot better, but it's still what it is. Oh, let's keep playing the game, I'll find something to talk about soon enough. Oh yeah, probably the way to do. The spectacle in this game is... I still look at it and I still think it's super unnecessary. It's just like the whale section in this stage is like one of the most underwhelming things to me. Maybe it sold the game back in the day, but I still think it would have sold regardless because it's Sonic. People love him. So I don't think it was particularly needed.
Hey Sonic, long time no see, huh?
Cutscene feels like it's running a lower frame rate than the rest of the game. Fuck it, I'm skipping it. I just want to play the game. I'm here more for the game than anything else. So what did I have to do again? Did I have to get the light dash or something? I just don't remember. Also, guys, I want to ask this question one more time. How's the volume? How really is it? How do I go to the sewer? Do I have to go to the sewer? I think I just go to the Mystic Ruins.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Look at this kid wearing a fucking schoolgirl uniform. Could just be some weird chick. Or is it a sailor uniform? Because he's a kid on the 1950s. How does this game compare to Mario 64? I have no idea, I never played Mario 64. I'm sorry, I just don't care for that game too much. Look at this! I never noticed that. See how Sonic kinda gets pushed around? Also, another thing about making your game more like... Yeah, it just really does. I think the point of that was to make it easier for people who are going down here to just turn. They wanted to make it easier for people to do that without actually just falling off. But yeah, another thing about making your game more automated, like this game is that you're gonna have the problem of having to place things like this everywhere. This thing over here that is pushing me backwards. was a thing that had to be manually placed and programmed. You know, it actually requires more dev time. You know, I just don't think they knew it back in the day. Maybe they just got carried away from doing the 3D things in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and like the 3D, not the automated things in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and they thought that shit was dope as fuck, so they made a whole game out of it. Yeah, it really had to go over here. Look at Tails' eye just kind of going back. It's so funny. Well, I mean, it is funny. I'm laughing at it, but at the same time, I'm getting bad vibes. Like, I'm seeing this being as bad as it is, and I'm just like, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good seeing that it's this bad. You know, it's laughable for like most people, but this is something that is supposed to be like highly beloved by a lot of people, and I don't mind them. This game has the potential of a great game in it, but does it have that great game? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think Sonic Adventure is very good. I think that's what I said. It has the potential to be a great game, but it never achieved that. Yeah, this boss fight is just a boss fight. He moves around and then exposes a weak point and you can defeat it. A thing about the bosses in the original Sonic games is that you had more opportunities to hit them. And like when people say stuff like those kinds of boss fights that you have to wait for them to expose their weak point and attack them, well, generally almost every boss fight is like that. There's always a time where the boss is invulnerable. It's just that the window for hitting the enemy and how you hit that enemy should be, in my opinion, to make the game less frustrating and to make it more just more fast for a lot of people, it should be more open and harder. It should be harder to hit the enemy generally, but you should have more opportunities to do so. In a way, when people are asking for boss fights that are not a way until the weak point shows up and hit it, they're actually asking for harder boss fights to a degree. Because they're asking for a boss fight that just gives them more opportunity to do things. And in the way, boss fights that give you more opportunity to do things also give you more opportunities to fail. So in a way, it's harder. I forgot to skip the cutscene. Ah, jeez. I think someone's asked, why play without better SADX? I just want to play whatever version was released. I've already got into the argument about this before. I really just want to play like what is on Steam. I don't want the game to be like altered. Like in a way I should just play like the original Dreamcast version. But I'm gonna play the closest thing to like a vanilla version as possible. I think I have to take this thing somewhere else. I've actually never fully completed it at Sonic Adventure DX. I never did it. I just never really found this game to be all that fun. I finished Sonic, I finished Tails, I don't think I ever finished Knuckles. And I just did it. I never actually thought this game was great enough to get to the final boss. It just wasn't that great to me. Then again, I see the potential on it. You know, generally I prefer SA2, but SA2 is also a game that I never completed. I just got to this one level that I just couldn't beat. This is some bullshit, of course. I died. But yeah, okay, one thing that I like to talk about is... Okay, so you look at the ground over here, right? You look at how it has like a sharp transition here. It's funny because this is a fact of like a lot of games in general. Games just try to mask this, but this technically exists in every game. Essentially, the way the textures are mapped into the stage, they're mapped in via their meshes. Essentially, this is like this is a polygon and this is another polygon. They're just applying different textures to different parts of the mesh based on their polygons. So essentially, this whole plane over here is actually several polygons and not just one big polygon. So technically, adding a road like this to this area makes it more high poly, just because of how it works. Still, like the transition is very sharp. That's because the textures themselves are not the same. This grass is a different grass than this grass. But generally, another thing that games like this can do is use vertex paintings to make, you know, this area one texture and this area one texture, and have like a gradient between them. And you use vertex painting to paint which areas of the mesh render one texture and which area renders the other. But the thing is, as far as I can tell, vertex painting you have to just render both textures at the same time. Like even if only one texture shows up, you're rendering both to a degree. So that makes it a little bit more expensive to render regardless. Generally, Sonic Adventure does a better job than most amateur projects at you know, at that kind of stuff. I'm actually sensing like a very big lack of vertex colors in this game generally. Vertex colors are very much used alongside vertex painting. It's funny because this level looks completely unshaded too. But vertex colors are generally used in games of way back, up until the Wii era actually, to show which areas of the stage are in shadow. Right, I think it's kind of used over here, but to a very low degree. This area is more in shadow than this one. It's still the same texture. It's just that there is the vertice on the mesh is actually painted, so it looks like there is more to it. There's more shadow to it. How the hell is Sonic doing that? I guess it's just supposed to be like a fun thing. Let's see if you can go over there. Wow, you can. I wasn't expecting this. It's actually not too bad. But there's nothing I can do in here. Funny thing about the jump, Sonic seems to fall faster than it goes up. It's interesting to a degree. I mean, it's like Sonic goes up. People say that the jumping in this game feels floaty. I don't think this game feels particularly floaty. What makes it feel floaty is that when you jump, it's as if Sonic is making such a huge force to go up. Like he's trying to like fart himself downwards to keep him going, and when he's at the top, he just can't do it anymore. There's not enough fuel, so he stops. It's not as if Sonic just puts a whole force downwards and just goes up. No, it puts like a constant force upwards until he can't do it anymore, and he just falls. In most games, generally what happens is that when you jump, there's a constant force being applied upwards. In this game, the force seems to stop, to gradually decrease as you're going up. That makes the game feel floaty, but generally I think falling is not floaty at all in this game. It's just the way the jumping feels to people that makes it feel floaty. Just the way it works. In fact, sometimes I think after the jump is over, there's a force pulling Sonic downwards. Especially when they release the button. Oh god. Yeah, funny thing that they actually use vertex colors in this area to paint the colors of the lower sides of this ravine or whatever this is called, like a lighter blue, which is interesting to make it mesh more with the skybox. Oh my god. All right. It's funny that the tornado makes no fucking noise whatsoever. This is an interesting section. It doesn't seem like the section was that hard to make compared to the whale, since it doesn't really require like a whole new mesh that is animated and whatnot. The tornado is probably fairly simple to model. So to a degree, this section is actually a much better use of, you know, a spectacle section than that one. Albeit it's not all that well made. It's still better. It's funny that this thing goes kind of out of it. There's a lot of Pokemon in the chat, that's true. Oh, now we're in the one section with Sonic 3D Blast music. 3D Blast was a video game. I don't have that many opinions on it. Fucking explodes. The wall explodes. But yeah, like for example, in this area, you just kind of have to point Sonic in the right direction, but the camera is like completely out of your control. It's so weird. And like this game has that one feature that I thought that said that Sonic kind of magnetizes forward. Regardless of that, it still feels really fucking weird to move Sonic. just because of the camera being so automated and so imprecise on its automation. You know, the automation of the camera just isn't... It's not precise. It fiddles around everywhere. It's actually not good. And especially with the way the collision works too. I mean, just look at that. And now I'm like walking in place, kind of. Come on. I'm just gonna jump off this loop. I thought I was gonna die. Like, I don't want to just keep bashing at adventure games a lot, but I just can't help but point out its flaws, and there's so many of them. I did not see that coming. I would have just died. I don't know how much the Dreamcast version is compared to the DX version. I highly doubt that it's better gameplay wise. It might have some like differences that make it better, but I don't like fixing the bugs and fixing the it's not even bugs. It's just like the way the game was made like this. This is how it's made. It's not like a bug. It's not an unintended effect. No, it's just badly coded. It's like fixing that shit is gonna require like a completely remake of the game. I really don't think this game could have be made a lot better like this. And Sonic just goes upwards. Whoa! Look at the feet. I'm not even doing anything. This game, man. Oh shit! Sorry for that. Just adjusting the mic. Oh man, it's just... There's a whole side that explains everything in the DX version. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm still in absolute disbelief that the X version can be like so much better, so much worse. Like the original version is probably not that much better. I'm in disbelief of that. Someone said, "Can you point out why this game is fun for you?" I think that wasn't directed at me, but regardless, is this game fun to me? Actually, it is. This game is actually kind of fun. It is fun to play. There's just so much wrong with it. But the reason why people play it is because it has that potential of a good game in it. But that potential is still something, you know? There is still something here that just hasn't been done yet by a lot of games. Like what is in here just hasn't been tried as often as people think it has. By the Sonic series itself, it clearly hasn't. The least attempt at doing a game like this really was Adventure 2. I don't think Heroes or Shadow the Hedgehog particularly play like the adventure games. They sort of do, but not really. I mean, I guess the last attempt was Sonic 06. Really? Yeah, it probably was Sonic 06. Sonic Heroes is kinda like it, but like with the team mechanic and everything, I just think Sonic Heroes control like weirdly enough to the point where it feels like a different game. There's a lot more action in Sonic Heroes, you know? There's a lot more like combat areas where you have to fight enemies and whatnot. That's one of the reasons why it's not like that. Sonic 06 has that too, but I don't know. It has the, it has the like the sprawling story and the open worlds and whatnot. And Shadow the Hedgehog really doesn't have that, and neither does Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes is stage to stage. Oh my god, just go, Sonic. It still is a game that you can enjoy it. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, if you enjoyed this game, you're bad. No, you can enjoy whatever the fuck you want, man. I don't give a fuck. But if there's anything I have to criticize about their accessories, is that I actually legitimately just don't like them very much. I think they clutter up the way the character looks, generally. I don't think they look good. What the hell did the switch activate while I wasn't pressing it? Oh, I hate the collision in this game so much, it just stops you dead on your tracks. Come on! Yeah, but like, I've also heard that the original version of Sonic Adventure was actually like more filled with bugs, like the original Japanese release, I think. I'm not sure if how much true is that. still, like, some people might say, like, the original Dreamcast version is better. If I wanna play that version, I would just play the Dreamcast version. I would actually get a Dreamcast and play it, but unfortunately that isn't possible. So, you know, I'm just gonna play what I have. And I know that there's a mod for it, but I don't know how much of the mod is actually changed to be a mod, as in like fan-made. I would just play the original. So, again, I'm in disbelief that the mod is like completely accurate and not actually changed to be even better than the Dreamcast version. I just want to play what it is.
This is the time needed to store power for the Lightspeed Dash.
No, I'm not emulating it. I'm just gonna play the game. Well, there's more to talk about than versions. I still have no, like, okay, so I have this problem with the X is that I never know where the fuck to go. I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just going from memory, trying to figure something out. Do I have to go here? Do I have to go to the casino or whatever?
Headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Yeah, I think so. Wait, what? Oh, I think I have to hit that thing, right? And there's like some trail of rings. I really just want to talk about shit, but I keep having to think about the game. Man, the way that the game does this thing where if you fall off, it just kind of stops you occasionally. It's so fucking annoying. Like, come on. The only reason why it does that is that I'm not sure if the game does this, but it might have a system to stop you from falling off a ledge. And that system fucks up more often than not. Either that, or it's actually colliding the player with the wall slightly, as in like colliding like this, while you were getting out like this, and somehow fucking things up. Alright. Oh, it's this one stage. It's funny, like, okay, so the best things about this game is just like moving Sonic around. I actually wish this game was a lot more just about just going. It's like walking Sonic around. I think just moving Sonic around like this can be fun. It is fun. It can be very fun. But there's just so many automated things and like collision everywhere. And this fucking stage, where it's like completely different. It's like a whole different thing. Now we're playing pinball. I was like, but I just wanted to play Sonic. I mean, even in the originals, when there was pinball and there was mini games, there were, you know, there was enough content that you could say, you know, like whatever. There's mini games, but it's fine. I just they spend a whole bunch like programming this pinball machine when they could have just done it like the original. There's no Sonic Adventure 2 somehow. I mean, they have enough spectacle already. Either that or just not do it. I don't think that pinball is the reason why people are playing this game to begin with. It is just a matter of priorities, really. Like, what... What did that do? Oh, it did nothing. I thought it was gonna do something. No, but like genuinely, it's just, come on. It's like such a waste, you know? It kind of gets stuck there, like, holy shit. I keep getting that. Oh, I got another ball, whatever. How many rings do you need? Like 1,000? Again, as I said before, I don't think the way the programming is in this game is like excusable by the time it was released at. Bad programming is still bad programming. I think this game could have been better, even back then. You know, including the animation actually. Can I move Sonic? Oh, I can tilt the pinball machine. Is this just gonna get stuck in there? Oh, it's getting me rings, so... Oh my god. Yeah, guys, I'm playing Ultra Pinball for Windows XP, or whatever that game is called, Space Pinball. Loved it. It was great on my childhood. It's a great game. Oh man, like I want to comment about Sonic, but I'm here. I am playing pinball. Oh come on. Let me deposit it. I just wanted to see how much I need. And I fall, because the camera tilted itself. Did it really have to do that? I think I need 1,000. I'm not really sure. Yeah, look at the number, it's 200, yeah.
Try and deposit as many rings as you can. It may even help.
Man,
show you
Sonic tilts his head like super weirdly. Not this slow, I'm just going to pinball. You kind of lose control when you hit the machines too. What is this area? Is this the actual level part of the level? Oh yeah, okay, that's good. How do I get it in again? I keep trying to move the analog sticks. Am I in the wrong bathroom? Whatever, is there another one? I just want to do a thing. Oh, I never noticed that. This is funny. Oh, it's stuck. I can't move. Oh, okay, good. Should have just jumped. Fucking tail's getting damaged. Yeah, I don't fucking know how to get to the other stage part or whatever. Yeah, walk on the sink, Sonic. Your fucking dirty ass feet. No, I just want to go. I don't want to hit it. Pressing the completely wrong direction, it still hits it. I'll just go into pinball, whatever. I just want to be done with this stage. Oh, I need to fail? Okay, let me fail. Because that's at least a level, you know? I'm gonna fucking tilt the machine. I remember on the pinball game in Windows XP, you would actually, like, if you tilt the machine too much, it would break. And then you couldn't play the game anymore. That's funny. It's kind of a weird mechanic. At least this area has actually a good music to it. I mean, Sonic Adventure always had good music in general. It's been the best part of those games. Like, I don't think people see it that way, but this is a good game. This is a bad game with a good soundtrack. It really is. Someone offended that I said it's a bad game, because I do think it is. I'm not really apologizing for that. Unfortunately, there's just too much wrong with it. Oh my fucking god. I also want to like just say that I'm not particularly nostalgic for it. I have some nostalgia for Adventure 2, but not for this game specifically. I still don't think Adventure 2 is specifically a good game, but it does, at least in the Sonic stages, I remember it controlling better than this one. I'm gonna try playing it sooner or later, and we're gonna see. It might not even be much better, but who knows, really. Like you go in those sections and they're like fun and whatnot, and you just hit the wall and you just fucking stop. Kills it, man. It just kills it. You're having so much fun and it kills it. Yay! Fucking shakes off. Funny that it happens, but wasn't particularly interesting. Cameraman, just follow me, man. stick with me. I want to talk about things. Anyone ask me a question about anything? Anything about Sonic or whatever I think, just go. Because I'm running things to talk about. I completely forgot that this game is the way it is.
Yes.
It took me a while after I got the emerald to actually do anything. I want to talk about 3D level design for a second, but I kind of want to get into the stage first. What do you think about the homing attack? I like the homing attack. I don't think it's bad particularly. In 3D it's a lot harder to hit enemies. One thing that I've also noticed is that to make the enemies particularly... Okay, come on, let's just go. To make the enemies particularly easier to hit in a 3D game, you have to make them bigger, which is also something I think I noticed in Mario. What the fuck? Is that Cream the Rabbit?
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins.
I've always noticed that there, but I never like... Did they have a Cream the Rabbit model in this game, or is it just like a sprite? Oh well, whatever. I think I have to go in Speed Highway, right? I hope it's Speed Highway. I don't know what to do anymore. Fucking big. I really just want to get to the
Use
stage.
the ice stone in the Mystic Ruins.
Where's the fucking ice stone? Oh, I hate this. Can you tell I'm not having a good time? I just want to get to the stage so I can talk about it. Well, let's talk about it regardless. 3D level design, it's interesting. I can't say I'm particularly good at 3D level design, just because it's not something I have too much experience with. In general, it's in the casino area, okay. But 3D level design is interesting and yet harder at the same time. In a game like Sonic Forces, for example, they have a problem because
The train headed for the
their level design is very much tied with the stage art. So in a way, like every time they have to make a level design, they have to plan that level design, and then the artists have to make them. And that's a problem because it makes the level design very difficult to alter later on in the game. You have to change a lot in order to actually be able to change your level design. You have to alter the art a lot, and you have to get your art team to do it, and that takes a long time. So the way Generations of Forces do their level designs is practically unfeasible. It's actually kind of impressive that they do it like that and get games that are as good as they are. I mean, not saying that they're great or good even for that matter, but it's amazing that they actually get a competent product, because it's just such a hassle. It's such a bad idea, but still, there are better ways of doing those sorts of things. Regardless of that, making 3D level design for a Sonic game specifically is tough, because every Sonic game is different. You know, you're gonna make a level design for Generations. It's gonna be wildly different than whatever adventure game you wanna put in. You wanna convert your adventure game to Generations. Well, it's gonna be hard, because you're just gonna have to be done it as a different stage. It can't just be the same fucking stage. It's just so hard. And like, oh, you wanna do the multiple paths? Well, now what about the camera? You have to consider the camera now. Where is the camera gonna be? How is it gonna move? Is it gonna be behind the player? Can you afford to place things above the player without restricting the camera? Can the player jump to those areas? Can the player get to those areas and whatnot? There's a lot you have to consider, generally. So it's just... Now that I'm gonna get into Ice Cap, I can probably talk about it a little bit more. I think this level has specifically a weird kind of level design, but it's generally doable, I guess. Oh wow, barely remember it. But yeah. Right, like it's those areas like this one where it's... For a Sonic game of this nature, it's actually kind of claustrophobic. Because you have so little control over the camera, it's actually really hard to see where you're going. You do have some control over the camera, but it really seems to be just left and right. Well, generally, the camera should have been You know, it should have been the other analog stick, but I don't think the Dreamcast had it, so they had a problem there. I'm going the wrong place now. That's the thing about level design too. It needs to be clear on where the goal is, where you are going. This game does it for the most part. It's just that I guess people are more used to it. And yeah, this part isn't particularly fun. It's very hard to get used to, in my opinion. But it's good that you can go in a lot of places like this. You can go in the top of structures like this. It's still awkward, but still, it's good that you can do it. Oh man, it's so disorienting too. And like, okay, let me see if I can actually take a look at this area. In a way, kind of everything looks the same. To a degree. I mean, it's rock and snow. Rock and snow. Nice, and maybe a spring here, and the springs stand out a lot more. So hard to talk about this game. I'm actually pretty surprised. It's just... It's so... What's the word for it? Like, it has multiple personality disorder. Like, I came here to talk about 3D Sonic. But more often than not, I don't feel like I'm playing 3D Sonic. I mean, that's a problem with my game Fark has too. I mean, it's not supposed to be 3D Sonic really. It has 3D Sonic elements to it, but it's a Spark game turned into 3D. That's really all it is, you know. So it is what Spark was, but in 3D. Pure Sonic game is in 3D could work. Absolutely can work. Sonic can totally work in 3D. It's just that. Well, it's just that Sega holds the copyright to Sonic, and because of that, not many people can actually take their hands in making a good 3D Sonic. And not many people probably will, because it actually does take a lot of effort. It's not particularly that much costly to say, but it's going to require a whole lot of effort, because generally, if you want to make good-looking 3D level designs, that's one of the hardest parts in Sonic, is making good-looking levels that don't take that long to make and can be altered later on, because making levels in 3D Sonic requires way too much tweaking. You really need to tweak it very well until it's actually very fun, it flows well. You're gonna have to tweak it a lot. And I notice that I do this with my stages, but my stages are made in a way that they're very texture and shader based, sort of. They rely too much on those things, but they really rely on those so I can polish up the levels as much as I can. So yeah. And you know, they're not too time consuming to make, particularly because I really just can't afford to make like super good looking levels. Like, I can't really afford to take like several months on one stage when one stage takes 2 minutes to complete. I've noticed how some people complain about the stages in my newest game, Fark, being too long, well, when they're literally 2 minutes. It's funny because the thing is, because I decided to try to polish them as much as I can, I've made them pretty open, so you can actually go around and explore a lot of things on it. You can go into the buildings in the background, you can just go in almost all of them, and like find collectibles and stuff like that. But so if you do that, then the stage can take 10 minutes. Oh yeah, it can totally take 10 minutes, but still, that's on you, that's you doing it. Yeah. Also, this part is like another thing. Like, what if Sonic wasn't on a snowboard in this section? What if he was just walking? That could work, you know. We got that section in SA2 that does the same thing, and then suddenly you actually, you know, in the beginning of SA2, there's a section of snowboard, but then later on the stage there are actually sections that are very much like that one, except Sonic is walking, and it's not bad. I guess this game could have done the same, maybe. Darth Marwak. Look at the camera spazzing out. Darth Marwak says, unpopular opinion. The X I find the way it is. with the exception of lighting problems and a few missing options. But then again, I only played DX. I mean, it's absolutely fine if you like this game. I also found it fun. You know, it's just that it's so flawed, and it's so easy to see those flaws. But they're not. They're also flaws that are not exactly all that hard to fix. I mean, they are. They're hard to fix. They're absolutely hard to fix. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is that they would have like had to rework the game from scratch. And considering like from what I know, this game has been in development for such a long time. I absolutely 100% believe the Sonic World level demo in Sonic Jam looks 10 times better than this game. It just looks so much better. A game that looks like that has been the dream of a lot of people for a really long time. Oh look, it's the vertex painting that I talked about. See how the ground is one and there's another thing. Yeah. Now I don't know where to go again. Is it over here? Please don't tell me this is the Chow Garden. Like, do I have to take out that guy? No. Fuck. Oh, do I have to go with Tails? Someone tell me in the chat. Someone pointed out in the chat, Apple pointed out that it's sound like this version like is objectively more glitchy. Again, as I said, I don't think this version is actually like the problems are the glitches. It's not the glitches. It's badly programmed. Everything is just badly programmed. The whole game. This can't be fixed with like some patch with a better version. This game would have to be rebuilt from the ground up to be better. It is like 06 in a way that is unfixable. It really is. In a way, like, I haven't actually played 06 and I'm sure it's much worse than this game. But this game also has flaws that 06 very much does. The emphasis on multiple characters instead of one focused gameplay is one of those things. It could have just had one very focused gameplay. And maybe the other characters could have just played the same way that Sonic does. You know? It could have just been that. It's not. Also, another argument is that this version is also what a lot of people have played. So to a lot of people, this is 3D Sonic. This is their definition of 3D Sonic. This is what 3D Sonic is to them. So I don't see much of a reason to actually... I still don't see much of a reason to play better SADX or play like the original Dreamcast version. This is what a lot of people played. This is what a lot of people see as 3D Sonic. This is what I'm playing. Some people played this game with the Dreamcast, but I'm not sure if I believe that most people who are fans of Sonic nowadays, or the kids that are actually starting to get into Sonic again, or the fans that came after, like, the people that are not like 20-year-olds, they're still like teenagers and whatnot. They probably grew up with the games that they could play on Sonic, which are fairly likely not the Dreamcast ones. I should stop arguing about that. It's useless. I need to talk about something interesting. This is a boss fight, and I don't like it. I never did. It's funny, like, you can't barely see the ground or in it, and it doesn't feel like you're actually sinking into it. Maybe this is better on the other version, I don't know, but it's so weird. The camera, like, kind of stops focusing on the boss when it gets too far away. It just, like, focuses somewhere else. And this is another thing that I kind of just have to wait for it to come back up.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Okay. Stops in the middle of the water. Oh, it's good seeing Egg Carrier or whatever. Alright, let's get to the stage. It's like, again, the least thing that you get when you play a Sonic game is actually a Sonic game. Like, when I played this game, I wanna play Sonic stages, right? But when you play Sonic stage as well, oh now it's like a boss fight, and I'm just like slowly moving around. Do I have to get that thing by any chance? Or is it just like a chow bag? I actually don't know what I have to do anymore. But like, and then you go into Knuckles?
What's the matter? What are you waiting for?
Oh, I think I have to go into this. Okay. But it's like, and then I go to Ice Cap, and then I have this very slow section with the spikes, and then I have to go in the snowboard.
Sonic!
And that's not exactly the game that I wanted to play. I mean, it is as close to it as possible. And now we're on the tornado, you know? Like, there's so many mini games, there's so many things that are just not the core game. So many things. I guess this has been said a lot, and like I wanted to say things that haven't been said, but I really forgot how to play this. Ah, Jesus, man. But yeah, like there, I actually completely forgot about this. I completely forgot this is what it is. So I'm gonna ask you guys in the chat. Ask me to talk about something, anything. Do you really have to kill anything in this section? I really just don't. Sonic was never about going fast, it's just PR strategy for Sega. Like, whatever you want to think about that, whatever Sonic is about, let's talk about what Sonic is about. I don't think there is particularly, like, anything to say about what Sonic is about. Sonic is about way too many different things for way too many different people. For people who watch the cartoon, Sonic is probably just a character that goes fast, but it's about the plot, as in, like, you know, like Flash from DC Comics, you know. Flash is a character that goes fast, but his stories are not about going fast. They're just about him, his powers, his enemies, his character arc, whatever he's going through and whatnot. He's just like any superhero. So Sonic can be about that for some people. Or Sonic can be about speed because that's what they want to see Sonic do. Or Sonic can be about the physics because that's what they enjoyed about the other Sonic games or whatever. Sonic is Sonic's about many things for different people, and truly what I believe that should be done with the Sonic franchise is branching out. Sonic should be about all of those different things. There should, you know, the comics exist for a reason, you know. Oh my god, the camera. Like the Sonic comics exist for those people that want the plot, or they just want to see Sonic do cool things in comic form. You know, it should have a show like Sonic Boom where it's just kids just want their memes. That's fine. Just have your memes. You know, it's also completely fine to have something even like Sonic Force. I mean, Sonic Forces wasn't particularly well done. That's the problem. But having like a more edgy, like Sonic Adventure, whatever kind of story to read, more like 06, there's room for that too. You know, a lot of kids like that, a lot of people like that. Maybe that's what Sonic should be about to them. Or it should be about absolute speed, like in the Unleashed games. Maybe it should be that too. You know, those games should exist. Generally, what Sega should be doing, in my honest opinion, is not just making a good Sonic game, but branching out Sonic, licensing Sonic to several different studios and things that can do whatever they want with Sonic, but not exactly whatever they want to do as in Sonic Boom. Like, you know, how the Sonic Boom game was, particularly. They should look at the fan base and look how divided it is and look at what people, specifically certain people, want with the game. And maybe Sega themselves can make the adventure kind of game. And they can make some other branch or some other studio that can license the game to make an Unleashed kind of game or a Sonic Colors kind of game. Right? Or they can get another studio to license the game and make another kind of game, and like, let's say, whatever other kind of game, more like a spin-off. I don't know if people like Spinball, or maybe, you know, they can keep the Mania team doing the 2D stuff, you know, like that's another section of Sonic that people enjoy. And that's what I said, Sonic's about different things to a lot of people, and that's something that should be absolutely embraced by Sega, and that's how it should be done. That's really the only way to make everyone happy. The way to make everyone happy is not to make... And yes, I do think you can make the majority of people happy in this case. It's almost everyone, but not fully. You really just have to branch out and do many things. That's how you build the Sonic fan base. There's no way one game can exist for the whole fan base. It's absolutely impossible. It will not work. You have to just have several games for, you know, a lot of different audiences and whatnot. Does Sonic change lighting when I go outside? Yeah, he does. Funny. I think we can go there. Oh, there we go. And like, when different studios make different games, you also have more of a chance that at least one of them will be good, generally. Well, I mean, or all of them will be bad. Like, who knows, really? Like, it's funny, like, Sega keeps making bad games, but the franchise doesn't seem to be going downhill, really. Because there's, like, usually, like, one of them that are good. It's just that Sonic himself, there's just such an appeal to the way the character is, and there's been so many things done with Sonic. There is always, like, in a way, I do sort of think that one of the reasons why Sonic is so popular is not just because Sonic is so appealing, but because there's so many things that have been done with Sonic that there, you know, someone that is like trying to consume everything Sonic is gonna find that one thing that makes them really fall in love with the franchise, you know. For the plot heavy guys that may watch Set AM and be like, oh, this is amazing, this is exactly what I wanted. For some people, it's the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. That thing kills it for them. For some people, it's adventure games. They just really like the appeal of it. They just really like it, you know? It's funny, like Apple said that before, it's the Sonic fanbase are made of mostly children. Well, generally, I would say the most franchises like this, like in video games, they're made of people with a lot more time to spare, which are generally children. It's just that I don't think adults particularly have as much time to spend on games like this as children do. So you just end up having a fan base more of children. But still, I do think there's actually a fairly big amount of adults and young adults that are into Sonic. You'd be surprised how many old people are still into it. There's so many. I mean, you wouldn't, you know. I do think there's more children though. It just feels like there's more children. Like we don't actually know people's ages. Like when I'm talking to someone that seems to be a Sonic fan, I immediately think, oh, this guy's probably young, and then it's revealed like, oh, he's actually like 26. See how the ball works? It's so weird. And I just clicked onto the platform. I don't give a shit. It's great. Come on, game. I'm just trying to look for anything to talk about. Yeah, Sonic's pretty divided. Let's embrace the division and make more money out of it. But I guess Sega doesn't want to. Like, they obviously don't hate money, but I just think they're completely disconnected. They don't know what to do. I mean, they have plenty of things they need to keep track of. Sonic is only one thing. But they could have been just making so much money out of it. I don't think they see the potential. That's what's not being done with Sega, you know, they just don't see it. Man, in a better game, this section over here with the castle and whatnot could have been so much more fun. And it's just going through the castle with like good physics and good programming. And a good movement system, which I don't think this game particularly has a good movement system. It's one of the reasons why I say it's not just glitches, it's just badly made. Fuzio official says Sonic sucks. Spark's better. Buy my game on Steam for $7.99. Buy my game. I'll release it on Alexa. I'll become the next Todd Howard.
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
Jack Spore says Sonic is too deep into my very being for me to give up, despite how repulsed my tastes are, to the point that disregarding them is an unspoken law. Well, yeah, there's just so much to Sonic that I think, oh no, into the wrong place. There's just so much to Sonic that I think it's really easy for people to get into it now. Surprisingly easy. If I click exit game, will I actually quit the game? Okay, good.
Welcome to
Can I talk about the comics? No, not really, because I don't read them. But I've heard a lot about the people who do, and as far as I can tell, it's supposed to be a sequel to Set AM. It kind of continues on off that thing. To a degree, I think. I'm not really sure. At least the art style is heavily similar, very similar to it. So I don't know, but yeah. Oh, I guess we're going to Speed Highway now. But I've seen Sad AM. I've seen the appeal to it, and I mean, I think there's some people who like defend the Ken Penders era, and I've heard a lot about Ken Penders. And I've seen a lot about how the series gets melodramatic and whatnot. So if it's like that, then yeah, I really think that there is the melodrama. And I've seen people who like unironically draw Sonic with blood all over the place in like a situation of like despair, and like Amy is dying, Sonic has to save her and he's dying and whatnot. Like very, very anime-like, and it seems to be like something that some people genuinely enjoy. You know, they genuinely want that. That's why I'm assuming. I'm also assuming it coming from the comics, because it has to come from somewhere, right? And that's the one plot-focused area of Sonic, I think. It can't be coming from the games, right? I mean, maybe it's coming from 06, but I would like to assume it's coming from a better place. You know? Give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume it's probably coming from the good place.
Grab onto the helicopter.
Grab onto the helicopter.
Beware the propellers are dangerous. Be careful.
Oh, thanks. It took such a long time to tell me that I probably would have hit the propellers by that point. Oh. No. Ooh. Yeah, I'm more than losing focus right now. I think I'm just gonna play the Sonic story, really. Weirdly enough, I think the music of this stage is one of the ones that I least enjoy of the whole game. I think there's plenty of good tracks in Adventure, but Speed Highway is one of my favorites. Despite the fact that it seems to be one of the most straightforward stages in this game. I do think the stages in Sonic Adventure should have been more like Speed Highway in general. It's because there's just so much going around and dealing with enemies regularly in this stage. There's just a lot of that. It just works for Sonic. Despite the fact that there is sections like this one in it, you know, which is like pretty much an automated section. You know, and after we're done with this, we just get into a section where it's just like walking around the stage and trying to get to the goal, which is fair enough. Seems absolutely fine. At least over here it's like very simple-ish, like sort of like dodging obstacles. Which is fine. Not the worst kind of event you can have, really. If you're gonna have one at the stage, might as well make one that's absolutely inoffensive like that. But still somewhat plays over the game's mechanics of just moving around. You know, like the snowboarding one isn't too bad either. Because it just plays with the game's mechanics, really. It's just moving around and doing things. That's what you do. this game, and jumping, you know. It's a platform with very slight action-y things to it. The reflection. There's like a little bunny on it. What's this supposed to be, really? Oh, Jesus. Let's smash, spin, dash. I don't particularly like doing it. I mean, it's there in the game, I guess. Video games.
Yes.
What do you guys think of Sonic CD? I think I already said my opinions on CD a while back.
Yeah, not bad.
Would be better if the homing attack went through enemies instead of bouncing on them. Well, that's an interesting idea. Not really sure, because there's several points where bouncing on them is actually a very good idea. Because if you don't bounce on them and you just keep going, well, there's very heavy chances that you would just it would pretty much just make Sonic fall off the stage, or just go like in homing attack an enemy, and Sonic would go in a weird direction of sorts. And because he's going in a weird direction, it goes completely off stage, like over here, and then it's just slowly homing attack to the left, and I fall off. You know, making Sonic stop while hitting an enemy can be kind of a good thing, because it avoids those issues. Oh yeah, there's that. Completely forgot that was a thing. It's interesting that you can stop, but I'm not sure what's the utility of this. I mean, I guess it makes you fall. There's the point to it. It'd be nice if it was like kind of a down dash. Could work. It's funny the way the shadows work in this game. It's pretty much just a floating like plane or paper. It just moves to where the ground is. And the thing is about this part of the ground is that it's like a transparent thing placed on top of the street. But because it's transparent, it's kind of like rendering, because transparency renders in a weird way where it renders it based on distance instead of based on like the Z buffer, which is it's basically rendering per pixel by distance. So it just kind of renders below it. I mean, I guess it's not transparency. I guess it's just because this thing is just like a little bit above the ground, and the shadow is like way closer to the ground. It's a thing. Another funny thing that I think I should have talked about ages ago is the way you get angles in Sonic games, in 3D games. I mean, Sonic games, the 2D ones, there are several ways of doing it, but one very commonly used way is to have 2 points colliding with the ground. Let me show something. It's to have like you have Sonic over here. Let's say this box is Sonic, and here's a slope. You have like a point over here and a point over here, and generally those points should be over here, right? But they're not, because there's a ground on the way. So this point moves up. Now you get like you do like some trigonometry between both of them, and you get the angle or whatever, and now you get the angle that Sonic is facing, like facing this from the slope. But in 3D, it's very different to a degree, because meshes in 2D have a thing called the normal, and the normal is used in shading, so it's always there. The normal is absolutely necessary to shade stuff, to have lighting effect on it. Basically, the way lighting works in 3D is you have like the sphere or whatever, and then you get the normal from here. And the normal is like a direction. It's the direction that this polygon is pointing towards, or this vertex. So you get the direction of the light, and you get the direction that this thing is pointing to, and you set this color, the color of this vertex, based on like I think it would be a dot product between, it's like the dot product talked before, between this, and then you get that this thing should be in darkness, but this thing is pointing towards it, so it should be in light. It's pretty much how you do it, right? But since we have the data on like the direction that a face is pointing towards, we can literally just set Sonic's rotation or his angle to whatever the mesh is pointing towards. So you really don't have to make some kind of angle detection thing for 3D. You can just get the mesh normals. It's interesting because another way of doing angle detection in classic Sonic games is to literally just have those angles into like pre-made slope objects, and just have Sonic set its angle to the slope that he's colliding with, like this one. It's funny because in 3D, every slope literally has that already in it. You know, like this, like a slope would you go to. Oh, I was like drawing on the snipping tool when it wasn't showing because I'm a fucking idiot. But whatever. I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, let me get back to it then, cause I was just being so dumb. Holy shit. Where's the snipping tool? So yeah, okay, so I just took a screenshot of the game, just gonna draw over it. It's like, oh my god, and now you do that to me. It's like you got like a mesh, and like let's say this is like a polygon, right? And meshes pretty much store their directions as normals, and normals are basically like the direction where they're pointing at, right? And when like it does the lighting, oh, it's so weird. When it does lighting, it pretty much just makes like a sphere, and then it compares like this is the direction of the light that it's coming from, but this face behind the sphere isn't facing the light, so it's in darkness. But this one is facing the light, so it's completely lit. So you kind of get like a sphere where it's shaded around this area, but not in that one. There we go. I think this is good enough. Who's been drawing dicks? I completely forgot where we go now. Let's talk to the call.
To find Amy. She should still be in this city.
Really? So over here maybe? Where the fuck is Amy? Is this like the fake guy? Whatever, yeah. Poor statue, he looks cute. Let's go live him here. The little girl can enjoy her old man. Wow, this game's making me sad. This is like a little store. She should still be in the city, huh? Casino night, of course isn't casino night. Like she's a stripper, she's in fucking casino all the time.
Oh man, where can she be?
Does the casino even have strippers? I mean, some of them probably do. It would make sense. Do they have to go on casino night? I skipped the cutscene, so I have no fucking clue. No, I'm just gonna do it again. Tails is here now. Oh no. Oh, I see. Okay, now Mystic Ruins, yes. Of course.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Someone said Amy's molested. Maybe. No, I don't like that. Oh, it's the robot. The camera starts inside of a rock, thanks. It's funny too, because one thing that I've noticed when the camera went inside of the rock is that this game has no backface culling. Backface culling is when you hide the backs of meshes and you really only render one side. It's a way of saving on graphics. And by the way, the game is chugging. How is it chugging? Good. Now what do I do? It's Red Mountain. Okay, thanks. Fast ice cap. This isn't the right way. I'm going in the wrong way. I fucking hate the Mystic Ruins, man. I do not like the open worlds in Sonic Adventure. They're not good. Like, I understand that people want them back because it's fun to have an area just to run around at Sonic. I absolutely get that. but I just don't think they were absolutely well designed, particularly. It's what those games are about. They're about moving, and moving in this game can be fun, but it's just not done particularly well. That's the problem. I think I have to get something somewhere. Oh, okay. I think it's like you charge it 2 times, I think.
Ready?
No?
Go! Ready?
Fucking keep skipping things and then I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. The jungle area. The jungle area is pretty bad. But I think it has less collision issues than most. I really like the music in the second area of the stage. I think it's just really nice. Let's find the switch and then open the door. There's so much of that in games, generally. It's funny, like, if you want to make a section to find the switch, what do you want to accomplish with it? Do you just, if you just want more level design, like an excuse for people to go through more things, you just add more level design. Particularly in this game where the geometry of the stage is fairly simple. Just like copy and paste something and make the player go through more things instead of having to find the switch. It's either that or you want the player to explore, which is fair enough. I mean, whatever, if you want the player to explore, then I guess they would actually have to go out and find something. But the way it's done in here is just, like, that way is just... I mean, that felt like it was supposed to be teaching me where to go, you know, where like, not where to go, but like, that I'm gonna have to find the switch sometimes. But then again, it's just so bland, like, I just go there and I find a switch and then it's open the door. It's like, why didn't you just make me go through more level then? That's what you want me to do. It's just not a particularly good use of that. Finding a switch to do things is can't be like this is just there, dude. Why not just make it like make it available to begin with? Brock said it's one of his favorite levels in the game, I think. Yeah, I can see that. It's not a particularly bad stage. There's an actual level here that I'm going through, you know? That's the thing. Look at that little gimmick that is not absolutely broken. Jesus. Well, there's actually a level under here. That's nice. Oh, it just brought me back. Okay. Yeah, still something. It would be nice if it was like a different alternate route, though.
Move forward by attacking the enemies.
Except the enemies are fucking gone. That's one thing about making homing attack chains, is that there's one thing that I noticed in my game. You want to make a score system, right? So you want to also make homing attack chains like that. So what do? Because if you make the enemies spawn eternally, then you're gonna have to find a way to disable their score, or else you can pretty much get an infinite score. You know, unless you have a time limit or something like that. So in my game anyway, I just disabled them give you out any score. I think I've also made a system in my game where if you hit them like way back in far, if you hit them from the top, it would do something, it would like keep you going, and if you hit them from the top, no, if you hit them from the top, it would like stop you, or if you held the button, it would stop you or something like that. But if you didn't, it would be different. You would like, it would like just keep you going through it. Turns out it didn't work at all. I had to resort to just having the character bounce off of it, or else it just felt really weird. This is the section that I like the music of. It just turns into a Halloween section for no reason. I actually like that. And it gets completely destroyed by the invincibility of Speed music. Whatever it is. I've always thought that speed shoes in this game are completely useless. Like, do you even need them? Is going faster in this game really something you want? Isn't Sonic fast enough, considering how the game works? And you can do that too, you know. and there's those guys. Suddenly they're just fucking graves. At the checkpoint, having players miss checkpoints like that, Spark has a problem with that too. But it's just something that really sucks. You have to kind of make checkpoints as obvious as you can. It's a tricky thing. I think someone said in my Mania stream that I was the whole game like comparing like Spark to my own game. I mean, like I'm not Spark, Mania to my own game, and saying how better my game is. I don't think I was doing that particularly. Mania is like much better than my game, I would say. Mania is just more, it's more focused, really. My game, I think I've come to terms with the fact that I've added way too much fucking content to it. There's just too much of it, and that can really get boring. Hold on, let me change my air conditioner. Oh, there we go. It's one of those sections again. But yeah, like I do feel like there's just too much content in it. But Mania is just more focused. It has a pretty much the right length to its content. Like what I think of it is irrelevant to what others do. In this case, like my opinion of Mania is one thing, but generally most people seem to like Mania more. And I really can't compare. I really can't say like how good my game is. I can compare it to others if I want to, but like I don't think I have any value saying how good my game is. Like there's none. I made it. My opinion is more than fundamentally biased. I mean, bias is absolutely fine in my opinion. People think the bias is bad, but it really isn't. What I think people mostly mean when they say bias is that it's fairness. People need fairness in their reviews, and I don't think I can be fair to my game considering I made it. You know. Still. Blue says, I love the fact that my fan game is just SADX 2D. There's a lot of people who do that. It's not the first time that someone's tried to make Sonic Adventure DX in 2D. I remember back in the day, most people were actually doing that with 06. It was 06 2D. I remember there's this game that was taken kind of far, where they actually did try to make an 06 3D. 2D, I mean. And then again, people are actually just genuinely remaking Sonic 06. And if that game is actually an accurate representation of Sonic 06, then I actually have played Sonic 06 once. That's not something too good. Sonic 06 is a video game. It exists. You wish someone just made made Sonic Adventure 3? Adventure 3 is tricky. I think if Sega wants money, they should just do it. They should just do Adventure 3. I don't think there's, like, it's not gonna please the fan base. It's obviously not going to. Like, a lot of people like Adventure for different reasons. One of the biggest reasons why is because Adventure is so unfocused, and it's about so many different things. You know, like, I'm sure there's someone out there that absolutely loves the Knuckles stages. They're their favorite thing. Or what they love about Adventure is the story. You know, that's another huge thing. You know, one of the reasons, when I mentioned like people like the story of Sonic because of the comics, some people are definitely here because of Sonic Adventure when it comes to the story. You know, they like that anime sort of story of Sonic 06 too, and Adventure. So, you know, like, if you make Sonic Adventure 3, can you really appeal to those people with all those people? And I really don't think you can. It's absolutely impossible. However, I still think that Sega should do it, because I just don't think there's any point in not to at this point. Just do it. It's gonna disappoint people regardless, but it's gonna sell, and it has the potential to actually be like an okay game. So why not? I mean, if the game actually plays well, which generally most Sonic games that Sega makes don't, but still, If it actually plays well, I mean, why not? Did I do it? I have no fucking clue. No, I'm talking about the stage.
Alrighty, we're in.
Still, like,
Wow, this thing is really huge.
it's not. Egg carrier is super fucking small. It's like Sonic saying that this thing is huge and then it has been in the death egg, right?
Don't get too many ideas, you fools.
Ah, Jesus. It's funny that it disappears every time I pause.
Oh, wow! It's changed shape.
Video games. Alright, for how long have I been streaming? I actually think I'm just gonna play one stage and be done with it. I don't think there's more reason for me to actually play this game. I think I've said almost all that I wanted to say, really. I think I'll just play Sky Deck and be done with it.
To the sky deck.
Yeah, the Sky Deck! I actually really like the music in the Sky Deck.
Whoa!
I still think this is fucking funny. The way Sonic just slides down. It's like he's fucking sliding his belly against it. And it's super glitchy. Of course. Don't you love it? Ah man, this game. I really would have loved to be there back in the day and playing this game. Because I actually like, my Sonic adventure really was Sonic Heroes. Because I never had a Dreamcast, I never had any access to Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. I really could only play Sonic Adventure in like a place that I would go to that you could kind of like rent a GameCube for a while, so I'd play Adventure Battle for a little bit, like several hours. I never got too far in it because you could only like play several hours and then your save would get deleted. You know, that was my exposure to Sonic Adventure 2, that is. I never actually got to play 1. I didn't even know 1 existed. I saw the 2 in the box, but I never knew what 1 was, really. I was pretty disconnected from the Sonic series at that point because I just couldn't get access to the Dreamcast. Just wasn't that big of a console over here, and those things were expensive back in the day, so I really couldn't get them. But still, it's... Oh man, this fucking stage. Whew, it went like straight. Not straight, like curved, whatever. But like, it's just... I just never had any access to it. But then I had access to Sonic Heroes because it came out on PC. So I was actually able to play it because I had a PC. So I played Sonic Heroes, but even back then, I could still see that Sonic Heroes was horribly glitchy. I was never blinded by those glitches in that game. I can't really say that I was, because I always knew they were there, and it was always so weird. That game always felt off to me. You know, probably because I also played Adventure 2. Because in a way, the game does control a lot worse than Adventure 2. Even though I would actually say that it looks better, like in terms of the overall art direction, it's a lot more consistent in Sonic Heroes than it is in Adventure 2. I was going backwards the whole time. But still. Yeah, and then I played Shadow the Hedgehog. That's a fantastic game, let me tell ya. No. Shadow the Hedgehog absolutely sucks. Oh my god, really? Thank god it can still go. It is absolutely a fucking horrible game, but watching the cutscenes in that game is a guilty pleasure to me. Playing it isn't a guilty pleasure. It's just guilty. it's just guilt. It doesn't feel good. It's not a good game to play. But it does feel good to just watch the cutscenes and fucking laugh at them because they're so funny. I love them. I love the cutscenes of the game. It's not like this game where you look at it, it's like this is a beloved title, you know. A lot of people love it, and to see how bad the cutscenes are, like, it almost breaks my heart. It's just not good to see. It doesn't feel good to see them. But in Shadow the Hedgehog, it's just a bad game anyways, so it feels fucking funny.
strong winds will throw you off course. When the ship increases speed,
Still, I actually think that the soundtrack in Shadow the Hedgehog is fucking amazing. I really like the soundtrack in Shadow the Hedgehog. Like someone mentioned in the chat, like Maria. There's this one stage called the Doom. It's one of the worst stages in the game. When I was a kid, I always got stuck on it, but the music in it is really good. It's just really good. And the music in the other stage that is with the same trope as that one, I think it's called Lost Colony or Lost Impact. It's really good. They really killed it on those songs. The game is still fucking horrible though, so you know. But this is a fun little section where you're gonna see the robots showing up, but then you fucking die because the ship's collapsing for some reason. The camera's like super zoomed out now. Oh, and it snaps in. Oh shit. That escalated quickly. Oh no! I just wish the camera really didn't flip around so much. Why does it just does that? That thing's so fucking big, holy shit. Am I even doing it right? I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I'm just gonna fall. That's not where I'm supposed to go. Like, it just fucking stops. Come on, man. Oh. I think you have to kill it. Oh. Wow. So much for this game. Oh my god. Like, I always knew this game was this bad, but again, that's what I said, it breaks my heart because it's just such a beloved title. So many people here absolutely love this game. They absolutely do. It's such a shame that it has aged so badly. I actually don't think it has aged badly. I actually think it was always like this. You know, like, even back in the day, if I was playing games back in the day and I played like Mario 64 and then I played this one, I would be like, this game is bad. I don't think I would have liked it more. Maybe I was just impressed by it. Maybe that's why people are like it. But a lot of people who played this game for the first time didn't play it the first time back then. They played it the first time 10 years ago, you know? Like when they were 8. They didn't play this in the 90s. They played this in the 2000s. By that I mean 2005, you know? I don't know where to go anymore. Is this right? No. I really just want to be done with it now. It's funny how the geometry of the stage over there is just so bad that it just stops me. Like I'm walking and Sonic just kind of stops. It's like a badly coded fan game. It's okay to love bad games though. So many people really love certain movies from back then that are just considered really bad movies nowadays, but they just like it for their particular reasons, really. There's nothing wrong with that. Just want to say there's nothing wrong with liking a bad game. It's just that people probably see it as like a value judgment, like haha, you like something that's bad. Like, I just think a lot of people have this mentality. Oh my fucking god! They have this mentality of you have to, like, what games that you like or dislike mean something. I mean, I don't think they mean much. I don't think it means much at all what games you like or enjoy. Whatever you enjoy, like whatever, dude. Some people enjoy drugs, you know? People enjoy cocaine. Like, whatever, dude. Even if you were someone like that, I was just like, okay. It's fine, whatever. Good. Like, I'm just losing my patience right now. It's not bad, it's just broken and weird. Well, but being broken to me is bad, you know? Someone said that in the chat. If you have a broken game, it's just a bad game. You know, being weird is something. Being broken is something else. I think this is the part of the stage flips. Oh, all I could see. I do like how in this game something that it ends up doing often, not sure if it's intentional or unintentional, is being able to get to places which you're not really supposed to. Yeah, like that, just like spin dash jumping and get to places where it kind of feels like you're supposed to use that gimmick down there, but then you just do it some other way. It makes people feel smart because they're doing something they don't think they're supposed to. So it makes them be like, haha, I fucking cheated the system and I did something cool. It's generally a good idea to do that in video games. I'm pretty sure some developers actually exploit that now. I know I do it sometimes where I make something in the game that is purposely made. Sonic has no life. Fucking dark Sonic. Like, it's purposely made to make the player feel smart more than they were actually did something smart. Well, I don't think there's particularly anything wrong with that as long as you do it well enough. Oh no. I hate it. The cameraman is like doing some like weird angles. It's like it looks like it's a cinematic angle to make it feel vertical. Some people enjoy drugs, that's the end of the argument, really. Well, I mean, like, it's... Don't get into tribalism, don't stay on, like, the adventure tribe or whatever, like... When people say fan bases are cancer, that's because when you've been in a fan base for too long and you grow up in it, you notice that it's just childish bickering. It's just people bickering with each other, it's just people trying to compete. And who is better at liking this one thing? And that is just so ridiculous. Like, really, you're competing on who likes something more? Or who likes the best thing? You know, like, is that really what it is about? It's not about how good you are at something. It's not about competition. It's not about growing as an artist or as a musician or whatever, growing a skill. No, it's about who loves this thing more or who loves the best thing.
Yeah, not bad.
It's about getting approval via other people more than getting approval because you did something really good.
But let's check.
You know, I think this is it for me when it comes to streaming adventure. So, yeah, this is it. Ask me any questions in the chat because it's just very interesting. Like, this is just. If you feel attacked in any way about my opinions in this game or calling this game bad, you have something wrong. You have to look into yourself and say, what am I doing? Why am I feeling bad because I like this one video game and someone doesn't? I don't understand. Generally, people's likes in video games and feeling attacked have to do with something social. Have to do with the fact that to them liking those games actually matters to a big degree when it comes to their position on the overall dominance hierarchy of either the fandom or to themselves. You know, some people like certain things because to them they feel like to themselves liking those things makes them better people, which it doesn't. It never does. It's just that there are some people out there that react somewhat positively to what you like. That is true, but that's really all that you get. That is all that you're gonna get. Some people are gonna react towards you a little bit more positively because you like this one thing that they like. That's all there is to it. It's about belonging. It's about belonging somewhere. But you really don't have to do that. If really you're just friends with certain people because they like the things that you like, maybe you shouldn't be friends with them because I mean, like, okay, you can be friends with people because you like similar things. That is absolutely fine. But you can also be friends with people that don't like the same things. If you were just friends because you like the same things, then things are gonna get bad when you guys don't like each other. When you guys like different things, things are gonna get bad when that happens. Make friends with people because you just feel good hanging around them. That's the primary thing. Just make friends with people that you just like hanging around, not because of tastes. That is pretty much it. Someone said, and don't forget to bet the powers in FARC. Okay, I don't know what that means. More new powers. I don't know. Let's see about the powers. Anyone has anything more? Want to talk about? I wish I could talk more about the fan base. I just need a topic. Several ways. Like, fan bases are not about the franchise anymore. The franchise is merely, it's like a MacGuffin. As far as I can tell, what I got from people trying to explain the concept of a MacGuffin is when it's like a movie where a character has to go get a thing in the movie. That thing is just a MacGuffin, but that thing isn't important. Like, let's say whatever character in Star Wars has to find a lightsaber. You think the lightsaber is important, but it's not. The important thing is what the character goes through to find the lightsaber. It's the arc that the character goes through. A franchise in a fan base is pretty much like a MacGuffin. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, generally, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does in certain cases where, it's the kind of people that it attracts. But generally, it is like a MacGuffin, really. What is actually happening in fan bases it's contests of popularity, and generally, it's like a high school of kids interacting with each other. That's what fan bases really are. It's like a nice high school, and not an anime high school, a real fucking high school. The one that sucks. Except you don't go to classes, or maybe the classes are the games themselves. Except it's as if the classes matter, and you have to actually, like, the more you know about them is the more you are high on that dominance hierarchy. It really is just fucking high school. And to be honest, man, I hated high school. I hated school in general. So if you don't like school, don't be on fan bases. They are just a replacement for it. But someone might ask, what is the alternative? Well, do you play some game? Do you play it online? Find a community and play the online game with those people. If you really are someone that introverted or whatever and can't make friends, but you just want to play some video games, then try playing games with people. And even if you disappoint them or never get to see them again, just keep trying. Absolutely keep trying. Eventually, you're going to get better at talking. Eventually, you're going to get better at being yourself. You're going to find out who you really are. If you have severe social anxiety and stuff like that, over time, eventually, it's just going to die down a little bit more. Or, maybe you probably should seek some treatment. Like, if it's too much, you should probably seek a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So, like, someone says, drama can be fun, though. It's fun from the outside. When you're inside the drama, it's tough. It really is. Unless it's a particular kind of drama where you have a stake in it and you're winning. If you're losing a drama, if there's bad consequences for you, you're not going to enjoy it. No one does. Yeah. Okay, so at the end of the day, fan bases are like school. If you hate school, don't be on a fan base. That's it for me, guys. I hope to see you next time.